Hey guys, it's me, Apollonia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have my little Rumpelstiltskin. Say hi, Rumple. Hi. This is Miss Rumpelstiltskin in the flesh. She snuck into my room right now, so I was like, you know what, I'm show her on the video. But today, you know what, let me let her out, because just in case she gets a little rambunctious there. Hold on. So, today I wanted to talk about wisdom teeth removal. Depending on if you get one or two, you know, or multiple. Obviously, most adults, most humans develop 4. Some are lucky they don't develop them at all. And some are lucky where they don't need them pulled. But that all has to do with going back to caveman days. Back then, humans, they ate raw meat. And so those molars were developed in the very back to help us grind that meat up. But when we invented cooking, we no longer needed them. So what happened for the average human is that we still grow them, but our jaw has shrunk and they can't fit them as well as they used to. So most people have to get them removed because if you leave them in, then they cause cavities because they're harder to clean because they're so far on the back. And if they come impacted and they're at a weird angle or laying flat, then, I mean, it's just, you know, it's like this and the other teeth are up like this and perpendicular. Food just gets stuck in between here. So you should get it removed. You can cause gum disease, you know, and tooth decay after time. So I wanted to make a video on some things that I wish that I knew before going into it, that I wish they would have told me. So I still have one more to go. That one's scary. That one's laying completely flat. The other 2 were super easy. The ones on top they took like maybe 10 minutes, click, click. Actually, I think I have them. Hold on. Yeah, I don't want you guys, if you're freaked out by looking at teeth, look away now. But yeah, these are them. So these were the top 2. Yeah, those came out of my mouth. I know, pretty scary. Actually. So, and then the last one was broken into little bits. Here's this thing. On the x-ray, and I'll put a picture of it, it didn't even look abnormal. Like, it was straight up, just like those. It looked like it would be no problem. No, man, was I wrong? Has this been a journey of hell for me this last month? I'm going to talk about all the things that could go wrong. And so, number 1, I would say you need to really look up the reviews on Yelp or, you know, whatever your country, if there's an app where people, you know, write reviews about offices and dentists. Look it up. Google, look it up. So the place that I went to, they had decent reviews. But the original surgeon that they had really good reviews. So I was like, okay, that, you know, I'm gonna be okay. And then as we got more into it, well, he couldn't show up, so they called a different oral surgeon in, and I guess a lot of them move around. They don't really, most of them don't have their own office. I've seen that a lot. I guess maybe until they can save up enough money and then get clientele, they move around a lot. I know it's pretty common. So this man was not well equipped. He did the first 2 because they were easy. Anybody could have gotten away with that. But the last one, so he pulls it out. It takes him an hour and a half. This was traumatic. I was just lying in the chair and it was like click, 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 click. Little saw getting in the bone, in the jawline, in the gum. And then more bleeding, click, click, click. You know, for an hour and a half for one tooth. And I know there's some people that be like, oh, I was in the chair for like, you know, 3 hours. But each tooth only took like 45 minutes or something. Well, you know, here's the thing. You want to go to an office where they have a 3D model. Most offices only have a 2D model, and I'll show the difference in some pictures here. You know, I mean, you could survive with a 2D model. You know, way back in the day, life expectancy was not very long, and so people, you know, we didn't have x-rays, we weren't, to some degree, we weren't as advanced in that field in certain parts of the world, and they had to, you know, just, yeah, click it out. And then, you know, like in this, I think it was like the 60s, 50s, we had started getting the 2D model x-rays, and, you know, obviously, like, our grandparents have survived from that. So you can do it, but I really recommend a 3D model because it'll show where your nerve is down by your jawline, which is very close to the wisdom tooth. And I still cannot 100% feel here. Like for the first 2 weeks, I felt nothing. Right now, I could feel like, I would say like 50%, but like I can't really smile, and I cannot drink through a straw still. I don't want to force that. So that's why I would go to a dentist office that has a 3D model, because there are other YouTubers that I've seen on here where the dentist had a 2D model and they just, you know, got the tooth out. And then they never recovered. That's what's scary. They never recovered. They still have no feeling here. I found a girl for 4 years. 4 years, she still cannot feel anything here, and here. And some people really change their facial structure. Right now, I'm still a little swollen. Like, I'm not 100% what I normally am, a little, but I really want to film this, so it's okay. Maybe if I'm brave enough, I'll post some pictures of what I look like when I got them pulled out, like a chipmunk. Just swollen like a bee. Okay, so yeah, research your dentist, reviews. And so this guy, not only was he not equipped, took an hour and a half, and, you know, I know he was being, you know, pretty careful, as in, like, I've heard of some oral surgeons, well, they'll just go in there, the person isn't even fully numbed, and they'll just go and yank it out, and, I'll link some of those videos that I found. So that's really, really terrible. I mean, he did wait. He wasn't the worst. He wasn't the best. Now at the end of it, after the hour and a half, I did hear him say, you know, we need to schedule her earlier. We need to schedule her earlier. So he was clearly irritated that I came in at, like, I think it was 5 o'clock, 4:30, and it was the end of the day. And it's like, dude, this is your job, you know, like, you shouldn't, your heart's not in it. You know, you're clearly just doing this for the money. So now I'm irritated. I overheard him say that. And then besides that, he didn't close up anything. And I can compare this because I went to a different surgeon later, and I'll get into that later in the video, to compare them. So he put a little bit of stitches, but very, very tiny. And when I got home, oh my gosh, I looked in there, you could see, not for 2 hours. I know you're supposed to wait like 30 to 45 minutes before you take the gauze out, or if you're still bleeding, then change the gauze after 30 to 45 minutes. I waited 2 hours because it was just so painful to open my mouth. And then it said, okay, if you're not really bleeding anymore, you can change them out. So I wasn't, I was still bleeding, so I had to change them. So I think it went to like a total of 3 hours until I could go without them. And then I had taken the ibuprofen, the amoxicillin. We'll get into the medicines in a second, but oh my gosh, it was, I literally looked inside and I saw like this much of the bone sticking out from up here. And then they said, oh, you can eat something soft. And I did. I had like soup and really grinded up mashed potatoes. Really mashed. And a little bit of bone came out. That was scary. And then after that, it took like a solid 2 weeks before I started looking normal. Okay? It's been a month now. And then a few days after that, I swole back up. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I followed the rules. And, you know, I didn't exercise for like 3 days. They said be a couch potato. That's what I researched from YouTube, not what he gave me. And, you know, I didn't eat hard foods. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't see how it could have been caused. I did the salt water rinsing, cleanse the area. You know, you have to put your head up on a pillow, where it's above your heart. So I did that. I followed the rules. And so I went back to them. And I missed that part. I had gone back to her a week before that because I was like, I had dry socket. Okay, let me get into that first. Sorry, there's so many things that happened on this journey. So I had dry socket, which means that the blood clot never formed or it was dislodged. And so when that happens, the bone is exposed and there was just a constant throbbing from here all the way up to here. Just ringing in my ears, throbbing. Like, even with the ibuprofen, nothing was enough. And I was just like, this is my 10th day. Why the hell do I still feel like shit? You know, like, I'm supposed to be going back to work and all of that. So that was irritating. And then I went back to her and she was like, wow, you had dry socket. Why didn't you come in? I'm like, why the hell didn't they make a follow-up appointment for me? Like, literally, no pun intended, but it's like pulling teeth in that office, which I don't want to ever go back to. I call the assistant and she's like, well, why do you need to come in? And, you know, oh, you think you have dry socket? Why do you think you have that? Well, you shouldn't be Googling things. You're just becoming a hypochondriac and diagnosing yourself with all this. No, okay? I'm not a hypochondriac. Don't try and brainwash me and tell me I can't be on YouTube or looking on Google or doing self-made research. You know, that's just, you're brainwashing somebody and trying to tell them what they should think. So no, I'm going to self-inform myself. Thank you very much. So then eventually I got to see the dentist. And then she was like, wow, you had dry socket. And then she fills it in with like this eugeneal gel, something like that. I'll link the name down below. I forget how to pronounce it. But oh my God, it soothed me within like a few minutes. It felt so good. And the throbbing went away. I didn't even have to take ibuprofen after that. So that was really nice. And then a week later is when I started swelling up again. And I was following the rules, not doing anything crazy. And I mean, I just stayed at home, played piano, you know, I didn't. And so then I come back in and they send me to go get an x-ray, right? And then they look in there, and I'll post a picture of it. They forgot the tooth root. Okay, I don't know 100% if because I've read sometimes that there's two perspectives on this. Sometimes they'll leave it in because it's too close to the nerve and it could damage it. Or others will take it out because it could cause a cyst or an infection. But they said a part of the root. No, that was deeply underestimated. Understatement of the year. I'll show a picture of it. It was the whole root. Okay? Yes, that would definitely cause a cyst or infection. And that's why I wasn't closing properly either. Not only did I have dry socket, but you guys left in the root, the entire root of the tooth. Man, it's like what they should have done is done a follow-up appointment. And then, you know, when I came in the first time after the week, which I had to push for to get a follow-up appointment, they should have taken an x-ray then, not a week later when I'm going back to work, you know? So they suck. They got a bad Yelp review, believe me. But so really research. And so I found this other oral surgeon who he took out the tooth roots. So they had to reopen me. And that was basically like having dry socket. Just for those few minutes. Like, it smelled so bad. Like, the poor assistant had to go out of the room and she was coughing. I mean, they have to reopen, like, in your mouth. Ugh, man, it smells like just as bad as a corpse. So then that was a week ago. So that's why I'm not, like, completely normal again. Because, yeah, the other thing that's pretty annoying is apparently most dental offices, they can only give, like, 2 to 3 days max. I had a fight for a week. I fought for a week off from work. And, you know, I'm a server. So I it's a pretty physical job, you know. I have a pretty physical job, and I can't, I have to be on my feet so much that if I pick up something that's too heavy, and there's a lot of things that are so heavy, they're like 40 pounds and up, that it could just reopen it. So I needed more than that time. Even being at home for that week was swollen and just in pain. So I just find that amazing. They tell you, oh, we can only give you maybe 1 to 3 days off from work, but yet they say, oh, don't move for the week, don't lift anything heavy. Well, how are you supposed to do that when you have a heavy lifting job and you ask for more time off? So I had to fight them, man. Legit like pulling teeth, no pun intended. So I wanted to give you guys also some recommendations on the medication. And I'll post some instructions. So the first oral surgeon, who sucked, he gave me a very, very tiny note. Very, very tiny. I'll just post a picture of it too. I mean, there's not enough information on here. And the second surgeon, see the difference? This is what I was saying. 2 pages of information. 2 pages. This is what I need. Not just, okay, yeah, cleanse. All right, good luck. Bye. No. The other one was a lot more caring, and you could tell he was in the right job, that he really enjoyed what he was doing. All right, and then the other thing I want to recommend, I saw this on some other girl's YouTube account. I don't know if I'm allowed to post that video of her, but she had also had dry socket, and she had recommended this, Curoxin, for mouth sore treatment. And actually, I asked them at the dentist's office, is this okay, like, for my dry socket? And they said yes. The one thing you do have to understand, though, like, if they put any kind of jelly in there and you put this, anything that's foreign will take it longer to heal. But if you're in severe pain like I was, bone exposed, and you can't, the dentist office is closed or whatever, take this, okay? It's all organic. It's calendula, clove essential oil, and olive extract, and it's not in high amounts. It's 3x HPUS, so yeah, I would do that. And then they give you amoxicillin. That's one for to fight any germs or infections, any possible infections. So here's the downside of this that I wish they would have told me, is that it can cause, for women, a yeast infection. And that's what I got. And I also had the COVID vaccine at the same time, and something else happened to me. I won't mention that. That was physical, okay? It just terrible, terrible. It's another feminine issue, okay? That happened to me at the same time. So that week was the last month's been hell. So yeah, and especially if you're, and I'm not on like birth control pills, so but a lot of women who are on birth control pills, which they should tell them, if they take amoxicillin, can get a yeast infection. And so there's this other one called like Dexta something. I'll link it. I have to find it. But that basically, it's more expensive, but it fights antifungal and, yeast infection. So they gave me amoxicillin, and then the second place gave me amoxicillin, ibuprofen, and that Dexa whatever. But yeah, they should tell you that. It could also be like your hormones are like up and down, or it's not necessarily like sexual. Like a lot of people think, oh, wow, nasty. Like, how'd you get that? So, but it actually has more to do with like a hormonal imbalance. Yeah, so that was weird for me, because that was the only thing that fit the description for me. I'll make a little list here of all the reasons why you could get a yeast infection as a woman taking amoxicillin. The other thing, obviously, ibuprofen. They normally assign like 800 milligrams. And you'll need this, especially if you get dry socket. The pounding won't be as bad, but it'll still be there. It's like someone's just knocking on your head. Because all that bone is exposed. That's why it's very painful. The other thing that I recommend, and I don't know why they don't, I've done a lot of research on this, is if you have a vitamin deficiency. So what I've researched, and these take Rainbow Light for Woman's One, and then, or, you know, Woman's Multivitamin, but then I found that this one did not have the 2 that I needed. It's still a good one, but I would recommend this one's really good. It's a horse's pill for sure, but it gets the job done. And then iron. So you need vitamin D keeps the bones within the teeth really strong, and it like, actually they've done studies where people who like don't eat sugary foods and then they take vitamin D have had a natural structure, the perfect natural teeth structure, strong teeth, and these are people who have never gone to the dentist, no cavities, no anything. So vitamin D, you need vitamin D, vitamin K, and you need iron. So the iron is responsible for red blood cell production, carries the oxygen from the bone marrow to the healing site, and then the white blood cells can clean infection in that, and I believe that one comes from vitamin K. And then vitamin D is formed with platelets. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but platelets. And that, you need all those 3, iron, vitamin K, and D, because you need the platelets, the white blood cells, and the red blood cells to properly form that blood clot. And they should tell you this. I mean, you know, if you're deficient in any of those things, it's going to take a longer time healing. I mean, the ibuprofen, this just, you know, blocks the pain receptors, but it doesn't, you know, speed up the healing, just makes you not feel the pain. This is the stuff that's going to speed up the healing, you know, like this is what they should recommend. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. I know some of that was TMI, but, you know, I really want to help you guys on your journey. Also, obviously, some ice packs to numb the pain. And, yeah, you'll see when I post these, all the information. So, thank you guys for watching. Toodles.